Good morning and welcome to another day of Consider Your Soul. I've officially decided that's the name of it. So I'm really excited today. I don't know why, I just enjoy doing this. Um, what is the medicine of the day? And it's coming from the African Goddess Rising Oracle deck by Abiola Abrams. This was also one of my first decks, one of my favorite ones. And so before I get started, I wanted to talk about why I use oracle cards. So if you're new into getting into more of the esoteric stuff, or if you don't want to label it and it's just like, I think it's kind of cool, or I like watching these things, I use oracle decks. I started using oracle decks to help me to develop my intuition. And when I say develop, I'm not saying it wasn't there before. I'm saying I didn't trust it. And so I actually started with, okay, I would read the Bible and then I would pull a card. And I would start to see the messages were similar. There were some days where it wasn't, but a lot of times I found whatever question I had or thing that I was talking about, it was coming from both spaces. So I was trying to decide, what is it that I believe in based on my foundations? How do I utilize, different things to create my own sense of spirituality, my own connections with God? And so from there, that was one way I did it. Another way I did it was I would write first. And because, I would always be trying to prove to myself that this was true for me, or if I wanted to do this or not, if I wanted to engage. And so I am going to be a skeptic for everything. And so that's what I did. To me, I connected to myself first so that I could learn that I could allow this to be another tool that I utilize, but also to bring me back to the fact that I already know. I am already intuitively, divinely knowing. I may not know everything, but there are things that I just can feel and know, and just to trust that. So then I would write, and pull a card, and then it would be about what I wrote, and so I just learned to trust the messages that I was already receiving. And so I think one of the cool things is when you watch readers on anywhere, they usually have a downloaded message before they get started. And I think that's what that attributes to. And their downloaded message usually goes into what their reading is about. So yeah, that's why I do it. But I would, if it's something you're interested in, they always tell you to start with oracle cards and not move straight to tarot. I'm not big in reading tarot myself, just because it's just so many nuances, so many things, so many different ways to interpret messages. And so I honestly like better, really, I just like speaking. And then, this is more of my affirmation. So let's see what the medicine is of the day. Okay, that was fast. I want to pull another one. Surrender. Let's pull another one. Radical rebirth. Okay, so that gave us some clarification. So the first card is, well, I don't know if I can show them because I know they say they censor things on here. It doesn't really show anything though, but it's called Surrender. I know it's a little blurry, but it's number 44, which 44 is a healing number for me. Whenever I see 44, I know that it is a season of healing for me. It's just been a thing. I don't know why. I don't know. I know 4 represents foundation, strong foundation, stability, all these different things. And so a lot of my messages have been about stop working so hard. We don't need you to work this hard. Things are happening and moving for you if you just move into the spaces of joy, move into the spaces of pleasure for yourself. And so you had the surrender come out with the radical rebirth. And so this is the radical rebirth card. It's got lions on it. And like I said, sometimes I read scripture too for myself in my quiet time, and lions were a part of that as well. And then it was talking about surrendering over your fears to God. And so, yeah, I think it all connects. I think we struggle with spirituality versus religion and just, figuring out how we want to move forward. But these are the moments that I receive more affirmation that I'm okay and it's okay what I'm doing. So anyway, I want to share. So you've got surrender and you've got radical rebirth. And so how I read this is that we are surrendering to this radical rebirth because surrender's shown upright. It's a baby breastfeeding from the mom, and the mom is just kind of like relaxed on a couch with roses all around. And so roses represent like the divine mother, the nurturing, the taking care of things, the compassionate alignment, all of those things. And then you add in the radical rebirth. And so that's the fire. That is the initiation. That is the shift of energy and the person becoming alive again, like the new existence of you. And so I think that this is talking about surrendering to this change, this shift that we've all been feeling, or maybe something that you've been called to, some work you've been called to do, surrendering to it. And so when I hear surrender, I think a lot of times people think like game over, you don't need to participate anymore. But I think this surrender is asking you to show up in the spaces that are calling to you, this new rebirth that's happening for you. Show up for your rebirth, because this was kind of the focus card. And so it's asking you to show up for this new life. I'm thinking of the surrender with the baby. It's the baby. And then we talk about rebirth on this card. And so something significant, and it may be a lot of this inner child work, this heavy lifting that you've been having to do emotionally. You don't have to do it on your own anymore. And these lions on here remind me of the strength card. And the strength card is pretty much saying like, for this in this instance, it's pretty much saying like there's protection around you that is kind of guiding you into this new space. There is fire within you that is allowing you to really embrace this change. And so not to resist it, that's what the surrender card is about, not to resist what's happening, how it's happening, and to trust that you're being held, you're being carried, you're being protected as you shift into this new beginning, because this energy is all about new beginnings. The energy we're in right now is a major shift for everybody. So I'm actually going to read the affirmations. There's always like she calls it a goddess declaration at the end of all her cards. And so for the surrender, it says, everything I need to know finds me at the perfect time. So stop trying to figure it all out. Like, it's all coming to you. You just need to show up for yourself. And then the radical rebirth, still I rise. And so it may have been heavy. It may have been stressful. It may have been a lot that you've been dealing with emotionally, physically, but you don't have to struggle anymore. You can choose to start over and be reborn. That's directly from the card. Like the sun, you rise again and again. And so this is definitely reading that, and it's saying like you don't have to struggle anymore, and looking at the surrender card. This is definitely about the struggle is over. The struggle is over, and you can rise out of the murkiness. You can rise out of the dirt, out of the filth, out of these darker places, you may say. Because it says stop bonding around struggle. This is all about releasing the struggle. You don't have to be in the struggle. You don't have to believe in the struggle. You are not the struggle. And trusting that. And so, the bottom of the deck, I didn't shuffle it anymore, is alchemy. And this is talking about everything I touch turns to gold. And so you may have potent energy on creating what it is that you need right now. So if you find yourself financially struggling, if you find yourself mentally struggling, emotionally struggling, you can create what it is that you need. You can tap into what it is that you need right now. Like, you have those gifts and that ability to show up for yourself. I was trying to read the alchemy one. I remember it's, everything I touch turns to gold. So you're an alchemist. You have the power to bend universal energy, dare to transmute lead into gold by shifting from fear to love. And so, I'm thinking of surrender, rebirth, and love. And I remember one of my friends said, yeah, you make really good surrender medicine. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And she was like, really to just like sink into your body, sink into yourself, be present in the body, be with yourself, and like supportive, like soft medicine, creating space for softness. And I think when we surrender, that is what we do. So, our herbal medicine for today is none other than the rose. Um, I think about my plant walk with the rose, and I know this is a potent remedy for all of these cards that have come up because rose petals are very much about surrendering and surrendering to the spaces of alignment, like letting what is old, what is not relevant for you, what is no longer symbolic to who you are, letting all those things fall off and knowing that you'll be caught, knowing that you'll be held in those spaces. And so it's creating softness by releasing what was heavy, releasing stagnancy. And so, rose, a circulatory herb, is not about stagnancy, it's about moving stagnancy. It is about nurturing the heart space. And when we are rebirthed, we have to move from the heart space because when we are rebirthed, you are moving into more of your truth, of what is in alignment for you. And moving out of this place of struggle is to know that it's taken care of. And, you know, we think about our nurturing providers, which is typically the mother figure in any space. And so, yeah, I would say the divine mother, the rose, is potent medicine for now. Like, and one of my favorite things is to take rose baths. Rose baths, sit in that. I would say rose body oils. I make a self-adornment body oil on my website. I make everything with rose. All of my remedies have rose in it. I've been trying to ship out of that, but I really can't. And then everything I touch turns to gold. And so I'm actually thinking of, you know, typically I would just tell you one herb, and rose petals is definitely the herb. Motherwort is probably supportive too, especially with this rebirth energy, this lioness type energy. But I would also, there is a tea blend I have on my website that kind of speaks to all of this energy, and it is divinely crowned. And so it's hibiscus, it's rose petals, it's orange peel, and rooibos. And I created it because, one, I love the tea. I'm not going to lie, I just like the tea flavors. But it was all about this feminine energy of creation. You know, whenever we work on our reproductive system, whenever we nurture those spaces, the energy around those spaces, we really get more in touch with our creativity. And so when I'm thinking about all these things you're talking about surrendering, surrender to the softness, surrender to the change. You know, I think about the rose, the radical rebirth. I think about rooibos because it is supportive. It's an adaptogen, and it is very grounding. Then I think about hibiscus because hibiscus is also a circulatory. All these are circulatory system, but the circulatory herb, it has an affinity to the heart, to the blood, and so ailments concerning those, hibiscus is really good for. And so all of this is getting things started energy. It is creation energy. Alchemy is literally creative energy. You're creating something out of nothing. That is what alchemy is, to alchemize something. And so this whole idea that everything I touch turns to gold really brings you to, and it's got Queen Nefertiti on the front. And so this is very much divine energy. And so I think about, so the reason I called it divinely crowned is because it does put you in that feminine stance, the ability to create, the ability to become, and really just stand in your truth, like your divine truth. That is your personal authority is where you were divinely placed. And so that's what rebirth is about, is moving to a place that was divine for you, that was aligned for you, created for you to be there. And so whenever people go through these major changes and transitions, they're showing up more authentically on the other side. They're showing up more in their true nature on the other side. And it really speaks to the ability you have to create whatever it is that you need, whatever it is that you want and you desire. And it's got heavy sun energy, you know. Sun is illuminating. You know, it brings everything we need, the warmth. You think about the plants, the planet, and just how we function because of the sun's presence. And so I know I'm going into the weeds now, but I really just wanted to break it down, why I recommended that medicine. And so if you do have some hibiscus or rose petals, today is going to be about softness, but not softness in a sense of retreat, softness in a sense of trust, being carried, flowing. It is owning your personal authority. That's what all of these cards mean to me. And so there are so many facets of who you are, of the work you do, of the what you're becoming, what you desire to become. And so embracing all of those. And that is your radical rebirth. And the way to surrender, you're really just surrendering to this change that's already happening. It's already been destined to happen. And so create from it what you need. And so that is the medicine for the day. I hope it made sense. Definitely let me know in the comments. Yeah, I just like having this conversation. So let me know what y'all think. Let me know what questions you have. If there's some other, or, oh, you know what would be fun? Oh, I just thought about this. You should make a simple syrup with hibiscus and rose. You should do that. Maybe I'll make a video of that. I'll follow up with a video and come back and put it in the comments on how to do that. It's really simple. Yeah. So y'all have a good day. Happy whatever day it is.